What's going on with you? What's your new stuff for today?
You know what I'm talking about. I read a book that I think when it released was very famous, but now it is maybe bringing it could be a little infamous, but it's still a really good fucking book. Give it up for I read The Name of the Wind. I started the
Oh,
Kingkiller
y- you
Chronicles.
know what's crazy? I actually wasn't sure what you were going to bring up, so that's where my brain's at today.
Wowzers, man. Wowzers. Yeah,
One moment.
I one moment. There. Oh, dude, that's a
You
beautiful
gotta have you gotta
copy.
have a copy of the books for the people to see, in my
That is a
opinion. I
beautiful
love that.
copy. That is not what my copy looked like at
Oh, I've almost bought
all.
a special edition of this one. I actually really like this book.
There's one on
So
Amazon of like the broken loot on the cover, and
that's the
I
one I've
thought
almost bought
I
like a
think I might,
million times.
but that looks pretty slick. I
I like
kind
this
of like
cover.
that.
Yep,
We
yep,
we have
yep.
the sequel in that quality, but I haven't seen this one in person. We have ours was like green, and there was like a log face on.
This one?
That's the one we have for the second one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Wait,
Which
do you
I don't
guys
know
have
when
the
I'll.
third one in this cover or no?
Yeah, we have the third. We have the third one. We have the fourth and fifth one
Wow,
actually.
people would, okay.
Yeah.
Why don't you
So if
talk
you
about the
want to
book for a
read the
second before
third,
I
fourth,
start?
and fifth of the Kingkiller Chronicles, come to the
People would come rob your
Clearfield
fucking
County.
van.
They'd shoot me.
I'd be
They'd
the
shoot
first
me
one
and
too.
take the
I'd be
van.
the guy.
Well, that's the thing, dude. That's the thing. I'm slowly becoming. I won't become one of these people because I'll never, hopefully, have to wait as long as people have been waiting for a third book. But upon reading the first book, I had a romping good time with
You
this
liked it,
book.
huh?
Oh, I
I
liked it.
told you, man, it's good.
I think there are things that I have issues with it, but
Of
it's one of
course,
those
I
things
have
where like
issues as well.
it's so good around that I'm like, I don't even care. I don't
Yeah,
even care
it's really
because
good.
it has like the complexity of a more detailed written series, but not detail. It was such a it was easy to
He's a,
read, dude. It was easy to
but
read
he's
and
easy to
good
read.
fantasy.
He's easy to read, but also an excellent writer, man. His prose in that book are. He's a good writer. I read
That
it.
quote I sent you, that
Yeah, I
fucking
read it
page about the human
two.
mind.
Yeah, I read it about 2.5 years ago. So today I got on Spark Notes and read just like a synopsis of like each group of chapters, just to kind of, and I forgot how much I liked it.
It's a
It's
really
really
good
fucking
story.
good.
It's a really
Yeah,
good story, and
it's
I'd say
sad.
the only fault that it has, it has a beginning, middle, and conclusion to its story in a way, but it is such a setup. Like they even say it at the end where he's just like, "Now I've laid the groundwork for
So
you."
so this is
Like
the problem.
you get
So this
no payoffs
so this
really,
is the problem, and you won't. And that's why
and
the
that's
second
what
book is a little
I.
not as good. And part of the problem is
It's
he
bigger.
we'll get into we'll get into it all. But okay. Let's can we talk about the plot a little bit to talk about the issues in
Yeah,
that
we don't have
regard?
to go into spoilers just right away. We can start
No.
talking just like.
Just the way so what I was going to say is the way the book is structured is it's
Mhm,
structured such that the main character is a bartender. He's like an
mhm,
innkeeper rather, an
mhm.
innkeeper at an inn in
Going by a
a
different name.
going by a different name in a random village in the middle of nowhere.
Mhm.
And he is giving people a story of somebody
Of a
very
fake.
infamous in this world,
Yeah.
who's famous, infamous. And of course, that person is him in his youth. So he's giving the story of a very famous, infamous person who is him, and it's in the past. So it flips back and forth between the modern day him, who is obviously considered to be if
A
he's
legend, I guess.
but also a little bit disgraced in a lot of ways, right? That
Maybe?
he's gone to this point, that he's
Mhm.
now an innkeeper. He is called the Kingkiller,
Uh-huh.
and not always in the best way. So the way that the series was supposed to be, it was supposed to be 9 books, and it was
Really?
initial yeah, 6 or 9, I'm pretty sure it was 9. Again, I haven't looked this up in
It's
years.
weird when it's set in days and he even says in the first book, like,
So
"You
the
got
problem
3
is the way it was
days."
supposed to go is the first 3 books or so were supposed to be him telling his story up until present day in the tavern, and then his actual story was supposed to begin of how he lives out the rest of his life and his new adventure in life, because that's a huge part of the story is is it Ben? Is that what they call him, the character that's with him? that he's
What is
always
his
asking
name?
him. He's like, be heroic, be who you are, be yourself.
Fast.
Be yourself, be who you're meant to be. And he's
I mean, the whole reason.
no, I'm not
Yeah.
that person anymore. No. So the whole, like, that's where it's supposed to be going, is the first 3 books are just supposed to be him telling this old story of how he got to this point, right? And how he became the Kingkiller. And then from there, it would be how he's going to become himself again, right? And that's that, when I read that, that really changed it for me, that I was like, oh, it's kind of fucking depressing that it's like, we will never get that story. Even if he does ever release this 3rd book, we'll never get what this was meant to be. And that's a little unfortunate. But
Yikes.
as a first book, and a 2nd book is good too, but as a first book, wow, what a great fucking writer this guy is.
I had a great time.
I
couldn't stop. Like, sometimes when I start these big books, I'll get about 20 to 30 pages in the first day, let my brain kind of sit, get to know what I read. Immediately read like 100 something pages in the first day.
I was really impressed. Yeah, you were like 200 something pages in right
I mean,
away.
I read the whole thing. I started it last Monday,
Not a small book.
finished it Monday morning. This current Monday morning.
All of my negatives that I've said so far, and I'll say more about the person of the writer, it's all because the book is so good that people are just like dying for more of it, They're dying for more of it.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Which is why, like, I'm happy I've only just read the first one. Like, there's still more new of it for me now.
Right.
And then I can join the waiting game, but I will not
Well,
have
the
waited
waiting
that
game.
long.
Yeah, I just
But,
don't know that it'll ever come out.
Let's carry on with, like, so jumping back into this guy's
Sorry.
past is
Yeah.
predominantly the main story of it. Like, you go to present stuff.
Most.
It's
Yeah.
Something's going on in the present, but you're also kind of like, this could just be the world right now. Let's get back to, like, what this guy fucking do that made him get here. And it takes you through his life. I kind of wanted it to go a little faster through his life, because it started, like, it made it seem like it was like he was young, he was getting older. It seemed like there was a lot there, and then he got to the academy, and I was like, are we gonna see him maybe get out of the academy within this book? And then
No, that's yeah.
it doesn't at all, but which was fine. Like, it worked. It was just like, I wish it would have. At the beginning, I wanted more of, like, him getting a little better, but, like, once I figured out that we were here to stay at the academy and that's where this was playing out,
Yeah.
I accepted it, and I really still enjoyed everything. There were a lot of great scenes. So the idea of this story is this kid basically, not to spoil too much, but, like, he is this traveling kind of performer with his family, and they pick up a dude that, like, went to this university and became an arcanist, which is basically like a
Mage
of some sort in this world, and he can say the names of things, which allows him to have the ability of them. And he joins this, like, caravan of actors for a while, and he teaches this kid's, like, the basics of, like, whatever the magic system is, and gets him ready to go to university. And that guy bails, and then this kid's whole fucking family gets killed in front of him by the Chandrian, which are these fucking
Their whole group
their
gets
whole
killed.
group gets fucking killed. He's out, like,
I didn't
getting
think of the whole
wood
troop, yeah.
for fucking dinner, and he comes
Yeah.
back and everybody's butchered. And
Yeah.
it sets his life just on this crazy path to kind of get revenge, but also have a wild, fun fantasy story
Well,
along the way.
not very fun for a while, but the first, like, the next 3 years, he's a
Yeah.
homeless kid,
Yeah.
like,
Oh,
living in
dude.
squalor, fighting, clawing just for food. It's
I
really
I
incredible how it's written. It's really good.
I,
God, I wanna reread it now. It's
It is a good book. It is a really, really good book. I remember when
that
I
stuff
read
was
the
brutal in that
I remember
section.
when I read the chapter. Actually, boom, spoiler. We're gonna spoil this book, everybody. I'm spoiling this book. So the chapter that his family got killed, like, that was, like, I got to that point, within the first day. So I'm home.
Right.
I'm talking to Miranda about it, and I say to her, I'm just like, well, I don't know what's gonna happen next. The chapter that I just read involved his entire family getting murdered by, like, magic crazy
Demons.
fucking demon people, and then they dipped. So I don't know what is about to happen with this guy. And then I read the first page to that chapter that I sent you the picture of, and I was like, well, here we fucking go. And you just watch this kid, like, lose his mind basically. in the forest. Before he even gets to the village, he spends time just in the woods surviving. And he's
Mhm.
playing his lute, and he's breaking the strings, and he's still playing the lute, and it's
Dude,
like
oh,
telling you
when he
in detail
talks
how he's
about
feeling the music.
and when he talks about I mean, I play guitar every day. When he talks about breaking his string and not being able to replace the string, man, this guy can bring emotion. Can't
Yeah.
he? Can't he draw it out of you?
I love how the story's being told. I'm such a sucker for these types of stories that are like, it's a guy in the future that they're kind of telling about his past. The vampire
Course.
books do that, Sun Eater does that, this does
Course.
that. It's a great way to tell a story. And
Course.
you see this kid from he's like 11 on. So you're growing with him. When he becomes kind of
Course.
a badass cuz he has to survive, you start to believe in him. He is such a smooth Kava. I don't think we've said his name. Both. He's the main character.
I say Kavoth. That's how I pronounce it in my head. I think it's my
I had to listen
preferred.
to some of the audiobook as I drove, and they said Quoth. So
I say
that's
Kavoth.
yeah.
That's the way I like it. I hear you. Anyway,
But
I was curious how you were gonna pronounce it.
he's great. He's a fun character. Like you like him instantly. So even when he gets a little cockier later on, you're just like, yeah, because he's also a smooth motherfucker. He's a
Yeah,
smooth for a
man.
15-year-old, which is the age he gets to throughout this book. He might
But
turn
it's but
16.
the
He's
smoothness is
pretty.
believable
Yeah,
because
well, I mean,
he lived
he had a
in a
crazy
true
life.
performing lifestyle, and then he's living on the streets where you have to be, you
I
have to gain a certain
love I love that he's an actor. Like he grew up an actor and he applies that to
right.
all the things that you learn about him in his youth become so important for everything he does later on. What a great main character. What a great main character. Dude, one of my favorite scenes cuz that's the thing. This book doesn't have they kind of tease you.
Action.
They make you think he's gonna go fight like the bad guys, and he doesn't really. And it tells a really good story throughout that, but you kind of don't get actiony payoffs. But you get moments of really good
They're
moments,
very this is what I'm saying
very
is
good
there's no
moments.
action scenes in that same way, but the emotional moments just like and they hit he writes them so well. I told you one of my favorite scenes in
There
any book. I don't wanna get there yet, but keep going, keep going. That
There are
just
so many moments in this book that could have been the cliche of like somebody is antagonizing our main character and he's going to be fucked because of it. And in a way he still does get fucked, but in the moment he wins. He has that class that he teaches with Hemi where the guy's just like
sick.
he's like teach this class motherfucker and then he fucking does. It's like
Yeah.
like so good. And basically by the end of the book when he uses the wind, it's just like it's such a good payoff because you've watched him just never fail. But the moment that really hit me is when he was playing for his I think they're called his
It's
pipes.
it's the
He
number one. That's the moment. That's the moment of the book. It's one of the best moments in any book I've ever read. The silver
good.
pipes.
Do
Seriously,
people
dude, it
agree on this? Do people agree on this?
yeah.
Like as a big
Yeah.
because
People that
yeah,
don't
it was probably my favorite
I've
moment of the
listened to
book.
reviews by people that despise this book, give it
Mm-hmm.
1 star, and they
Mm.
say, "But if you've ever, like, played an instrument or performed, that's even if you have that scene
I've
is
never played an
so
instrument or performed, and I
that
loved it. I
scene
mean, it was
is
such a
so I'm getting
callback.
goosebumps, and I haven't read it in
It
like,
was so
years,
well
and
executed,
and
so well
he's worried
executed.
about performing for the woman he loves, but also worried because he needs this money, and, I mean, the tension with him
Well
and the
well, he
woman.
doesn't know he's playing for the woman he loves in that moment. He doesn't know she's there then. But still, the fact that
But
he starts breaking strings and he loses himself and he connects with his fucking like broken version of himself to continue playing and play amazingly and everybody in the room weeps. Dude, I was like,
the way
what
it's
a
written, how it's
callback.
described, of how he feels, how he's receiving the audience feeling him, and how oh my god,
It has
it
the
is so
impact.
spectacular. It's
It has
spectac
it has the impact of a big action scene moment of a character
better better than
in a
most action
musical
scene moments.
performance in a
Better than most
fantasy.
action scene moments, he
Yeah.
wrote it in performing, and fuck, it is so good,
Yeah.
and he builds it up
I'm glad
perfectly
people
too.
like that scene as much as
Oh,
I do.
again, people
I
that
like that a
don't
lot.
like the book, like
I
1
didn't look into
star
this book at all. So like you're the
yeah,
first person
I
I've
don't
even
look into
talked to
stuff
about
either. This was
I
me
try
watching
not to
videos
with books.
after, but
Yeah.
man, that scene, God, I just
Mhm.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
how good, right?
How good.
I
So,
know,
like,
just
that's why it didn't, like, matter so much to me that the end of the book was, like, more him in that Denna character, like, fighting
You
that
don't like Denna,
dragon
huh?
thing.
The
I
dragon
don't
scene is
know if
weird.
I like
The
Denna.
Dennis, the dragon scene is one of my 2 complaints of the book.
It's
I think
kind
it's a
of like
little
a
out of
blue
place,
balls. It's a little
like kind
blue
of thrown
ballsy.
in there also that it's like,
Yeah.
yeah.
It
Denna's an interesting character.
here's what the book does that is a good thing and a detriment in a way that, like, it really does make things go in a way that I couldn't have expected. And that's normally throughout most of the book is great. I'm just like, oh wow, I didn't think we were even going toward this kind of thing at all. Like sometimes they just leave plot points behind because it's just kind of like how life would work. Like sometimes not everything in real life gets resolved, so you're whatever
Of
about it.
course,
And
that's
that's what's
true.
great about most of the book. But then, like, I don't know, I just feel like it's that same thing with the dragon thing, but like it just I don't know. I just didn't care all about that.
The dragon one, I didn't care either. I think it
And
was
it
like
was the
his
end of
way
the
of
book, so I was
it was
like,
his
this
way
is
of
the
adding some
climax?
kind of action scene that
Sure.
didn't need to be there because he
I'd
didn't
say
really
the
have it in
him
the
and
same
Denna
way.
moments are good in it, especially when she gets kind of fucked up on drugs and
Yes.
says some stuff to him.
Yes.
But I don't know how I feel about her, so I just don't know if I care that much. And I thought maybe at some point the Chandrini, the fucking
Chandri.
the
I think you're
Chandrian,
close. Yeah.
The Chandrian,
Yeah.
they don't even make an appearance, and I was like, okay, you could have at least even Voldemort showed up a little bit at the end
Well,
of the first Harry
and
Potter
this
book.
is the
But I
problem.
didn't need it. I didn't need it.
Okay. This is the problem. Again, I want to say I had a really good time reading this book. One of the more visceral moments I've had reading a book ever, where I've read a lot of books, and I think back to the times that I was most sucked into a book,
Mhm.
most lost in the book. Nothing around me is happening. I'm in the book. That scene is right there with the ending of The Wheel of Time for me. In terms of how sucked in I was when I was reading it. That's how well it's written, you know? But so much of these books, where my problem is so much of these books is prepping, is laying things out, but
Mhm.
you're laying it out for a big long series that doesn't happen. You know, that's a
Or
problem.
well, at least lay it out first. Like if you're gonna end it, if your plan is to end it in 3, you gotta end it, man.
Well,
You
now
can't
he
leave people
can't.
hanging
The
on a
problem is
fucking thread.
the reason that the book has never come out and won't ever come out is because at some point he probably decided I'll make this a trilogy, but there's almost no way to do it because the way he has blue balled you through the story about so many things, it's because he was planning to write them for books 4, 5, 6 in future Kavoth's self, right?
Well,
What
then
he's
why
doing in the
wouldn't
present
he? You
day.
know, why wouldn't he?
Why wouldn't he write more books? I mean, you have to fucking ask him that, but
Yeah.
you know when this book came out?
2007.
2007, dog. I was in the 7th grade. It was the same time Halo 3
Yeah,
came
you were
out.
playing.
It was the same time Halo 3 came out, dude. He has put out one fucking book since, but puts out this guy. This guy
I
fucking
know.
sucks.
We have the novellas.
This guy
We have them
fucking
on the
sucks.
van.
What?
I said we
This
have
guy
the
fucking
novellas on
sucks.
the van.
He puts out side novellas, okay, but can't put out a 3rd book. And I mean, the 2nd book came out in a reasonable time. I think it was, I don't know, 2010?
2011. It was 4 years later.
2011! 4 years is great! 14 years? You've been jerking off for 14 years. You're writing fucking side novellas for 14 years? You can't put out your 3rd book? You were talking shit to your... How fucking lame is this, dude? In your first book, I loved it at first. He was talking shit to his high school teacher and said, you said I'd never read anything, I'd never blah, blah, blah. Well, you wrote 2 fucking books. That's great, but you can't do this to people. Now, that's just me being a selfish bitch and wanting more books. The real problem with this guy is you have fans.
Patrick Rothfuss, right?
Patrick Rothfuss. You have fans. Those fans have made you very wealthy off of 2 fucking books, okay? This motherfucker.
Good book. First one, at least.
2nd book's good, too.
You like it better?
The 2nd book, good, but once you know that you're not getting more, you start to see some of these delayed things as a, like, and I think looking back on the first book, it's that same way a little bit, where you're talking about Chandrian, like you wanted a little bit more from it. I don't mind wanting more from something. Like in Wheel of Time, that happens, where you want more. But guess what? There's 14 fucking books, bud. You're gonna get it,
You're
You
gonna
start
get
to
it
you
and
start to
more.
really feel that in the second book where you feel like things are dragging out a little bit, and I don't mind that.
Ooh,
But when you
right.
know but when
It
you
has a
know you're
yeah.
never
It
gonna
has a
get
Wheel
it,
of Time drag, but not with the amount of books even close.
0 yeah, so then and, like yeah, just I won't get into more than
See,
that, but it's a
you're saying like, say, the Dragon Reborn comes out, and then let's say Robert Jordan was like, "Yeah, the next one's gonna be the last one."
no, no,
You'd be
I'm
a
not
little
saying
like,
I'm not saying the Dragon Reborn because the Dragon Reborn was a 3rd book because Robert Jordan got to write 3. Like
right?
this motherfucker.
But I'm
I know.
saying like
I'm
in
just talking
story,
shit.
like I'm
Of
saying,
course, of course.
yeah,
Like what then? What then?
yeah.
So, but where really this guy is an absolute toolbag piece of shit. And even George Martin wrote more than 2 books. Patrick Rothfuss,
Mm,
years ago, 3, 4, 5 years ago, 6, somewhere in that range,
yeah.
he says, "Hey, listen, donate to this charity. I want to raise money for charity. That's noble. And if you
Mhm.
do, I'm going to release, if we reach this goal, I'll release the first 10 chapters of book 3. People flocked. They raised tens of thousands of dollars. He just never released it. That is so, that
I
is
thought it was
so,
just one chapter. Was it just? Wasn't it just
I think it might
one?
have been more, even if it's 1.
I
You
think it's
couldn't
one, and he
release
didn't even give one. I think
That's
that's
how
what it
the book
is.
will never come out. It's
Yeah,
never gonna come out. You couldn't release 1 chapter. I thought it was a couple, but I'm sure I'm wrong.
I
You're
think it
telling
is.
me
I think it's one.
you couldn't release 1 chapter. By the way, the first chapter of each of these books is modern day Kavoth speaking like nonsense riddles almost. Like it's not like it's actually plot in the same way that like his past is more of the plot of the book. The
Hmm.
first chapter is less plot. It's him in the tavern. It's him in the inn talking to, what'd you say his name is?
The chronicler,
Yeah, the
Devin.
chronicler and his buddy. So it's not even something that needs
Bass.
like you to develop plot. Are you serious, dude? This guy is an utter piece of shit. I'm so against him. And he's one of these authors like George Martin who complains about his fans wanting more. Oh, people think it's so easy. No, motherfucker. Nobody said it's easy, but it can't be 14 years. Okay? It can't be 14 years. Bad
Yeah,
guy.
that's a
Great
long
book.
time. Great book.
4
Yeah,
years? 14 years, dude. Dude, the time
I
between
know.
the last book is like a 9th grader.
It is the ninth grade. Yeah, I was thinking about that today.
That's fucking crazy. And then to have the again, I think that George Martin is another guy that like he can fuck off because of these kind of comments where he's like, "Oh, my readers, everyone's so rude to me. They're dickheads, blah blah." And like, no doubt, but dude, you're rich as hell from like being a bard, you know?
Mhm.
So like be a little grateful in the way things are. But the problem is these guys keep giving expectations that their books are gonna come out instead of just admitting like, I don't know if it'll ever come out because I've lost it. I've messed something up. They keep these readers on the great book though. It's a great book. I don't want to make it sound bad. I loved it. I
No,
loved when I read it.
that's the thing. People are so mad at the author because it's
You
a
don't get
double-edged
mad
sword.
if it's not
It's
great.
good books. They're good when like you just want some more. You want the story to be told. You're reading a book because you want a story, and it's a great setup. The first book is as far as first books go of a series. I loved it.
It's up
I
there.
loved it. It's really good. There are characters I love. There are characters I hate. There are characters that I want to see more of. There are so many plot threads that I want to see more of. I want to see because you really don't get the use of the magic system to a severe degree till the end of the book.
Yep.
So it's just like, oh my God, that's what that's the thing where it takes your expectations. Like you think he's going to get a master. You think that first guy, the Ben character, Benti is going to be his like sensei. And
Oh, the crazy one?
he never, no, like the guy that joins his group at the very beginning of the book.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
think like that's going to be his sensei character. Nope. Then there's another guy that's almost his sensei character. Nope. And then you meet the Elodin, the master that ends up taking him on as an apprentice. But it's it takes the whole book till that happens. So it's just like, you expecting these things that the
Yeah.
apprentice would be getting trained in at least early on in the first book. No, he's got to do other shit first. He's got to play his
Yeah.
fucking lute to make money. He's poor as shit and he wants to go
I
to
like that
school.
stuff. I think
Yeah.
that stuff's good.
It's
I'd
for
be good.
no, I was just gonna say for stuff that in another book I'd probably care less about. I'm really interested in making sure this guy
It's
fucking
good.
gets his bills paid.
Yeah, that's so true. It's part of what makes the silver pipes
he's
so
just
good,
trying to
right?
get some of that paper.
But
Yeah, and he
I would
still
be
has problems.
I would be interested to some of them are his own self-making because he's a little bit of a dickhead. I'd be interested to see how you feel about the second book whenever that time comes.
It'll be a little bit, but I
had
am gonna get to it.
Yeah, I will be even more critical of Rothfuss then, after that book. But it is a great setup book. That
Yeah.
is my final thing. It is a great setup book with great payoff scenes
Yes.
about stuff that no other author has ever done for me.
It's great character work.
And that's impressive, though. That's impressive, right? That's impressive that this guitar lute scene that we're discussing so much, I've never found a book that has anything even similar to it that makes me feel so much. And that's, he deserves to be commended for that. I think that's
and
really
that's just the
impressive.
work. He puts great work on his main characters. There's a lot of great side characters as well. So it's just
Yeah.
and there's a lot of them, named side important characters.
Yeah, like his
that you get
friends at
payoffs with,
school.
dude. His friends, Sim and fucking what's the other one's name?
I can't. I mean, it's
Sim
been a
and
long time.
Willem. Oh my
Yes.
god,
Good
they
characters.
love them.
They're good characters.
They're his fucking boys.
They're his dogs, right? I
They are
loved
such
it. Yeah.
good bros. They are when
You love a good
Dennis shows
bro.
up at the one bar and she already sees him having dinner with them and like jokes about taking him, and he's just like, his one boy's just like, oh, we're sick of him. He's gonna talk about you the whole time if he just doesn't go hang out with you. So take him. It's just like fucking boys, dude. Those are
Yeah.
boys. I love that. They're never like super pissed at him when he they rag on him, but they're not pissed at him. Love those guys. Love those guys so much.
They're great. I really wish I would have reread this to talk about it, but I never could have read it in a week. Denna
Denna's
herself.
Yeah.
I don't know that she is a great character on
I
her
don't know if
own.
I like her. I
But,
mean, I
well,
guess.
you're kind of not supposed to, right?
Yeah.
But their
He's a good character
relationship,
for him.
their relationship together, I think, is really interesting.
They
and
work together.
Also something that is not in any other books that I read. Again, he deserves credit for this, that like this, and of course I'm gonna say this and you'd be like, well, I can name a million books. I don't know. It's just something particular about when I read this, that they are like two extremely fucked up people, still living some messy lives, right? Like, even though he's at academy and he seems like he's got things going for him, he lives a very messy life. And she lives an extremely messy life.
Yeah, I don't know, in the first book, they don't, like, get into what her backstory is enough.
Yeah.
I get that she has some sort of backstory,
extreme baggage, right?
And,
and
I get that that's why she's the way she is, but I still don't know if I like her.
but at the same time, so you don't like her, and I'm the same way, because you want her to be more... what's the you want her to be more into him, you want her to stick around for him, you want her to be more open and truthful with him about her life. But he's not always the most open and truthful with her either,
That's
like
true.
he doesn't ever I think that's part of what's interesting about the character development, and probably part of Patrick's own personal life, is that Kavoth never actually says to her how he feels, right? I mean, that's like a huge part of it, is that he has all this internal dialogue of how to communicate with her in a way
And
that...
they
they
flirt.
fuck.
Do
they fuck in this one or no?
Not in the first one?
I don't know that they fuck in the second one. I just, in my head, have assumed they have.
You bitch, you do.
Hand to God, I don't remember the second book.
There's two books, and they fuck at some point, so that must mean
I'm sure they do.
Eventually.
I mean, buddy, the whole point of the thing is they will end up together eventually, I assume.
He's not with her in the present, so...
What's that?
He is not with her in the present, being told.
He's not that much with her in the second. That's kind of their character plot. That's their character development. Is that have they been kissed in the first book?
No, they cuddled one night when she was drugged.
I swear to God, I swear to you, I don't know that they fuck in the second.
I'll get there.
I believe they probably have.
They might, but
they might have, but I think it is still this thing of they can't figure out how to communicate with each other, and they can't figure out how to have a healthy relationship. And I guess that's like a broken record of a plot to some people. For me, I thought it was frustrating, but the more I thought about it, I was like, this is interesting.
I don't hate it.
It's frustrating.
It is, like,
but
I feel it. That's the thing. I empathize.
I feel
with
it. That's what it is. I feel it so
I
much.
wouldn't want to be in his situation.
But the problem is, I feel it from his perspective, because you're reading his perspective, and we're men, right? So I feel it from his perspective, and we probably have each had a little bit of it in our lives, right? But I like as you more so
Relatable.
see that he also is not doing the best in the relationship either, right? Like, he's not
Yeah.
the best communicator in it. Yeah. I actually really enjoy that relationship because of that, because it's not it's more complex. Even though
Yeah.
it's limited, I don't think there's that many scenes of her really.
Not a whole well, that's the thing, and that's another thing, by the time she finally showed back up in the story, it had been so long that I wasn't sure there's so many characters that show up and then they're just gone because it's just that's life. But,
Yeah.
and then it started becoming so much more about her once she did show up that I was like, I liked it better when she wasn't as involved in this as much.
I don't
But it
know,
was fine.
but at the
There were
same
still
time,
good
every
moments.
time she disappears, it crushed my soul a little bit,
A
which is
little
good
bit.
writing, right?
Mhm.
Every time that he
And
would
she
realize
does
she
come
was
back
gone,
eventually every time, so you're
but every
never
time she would be gone, he would be crushed, and the
yeah.
way I don't know, it really got me every time that she would disappear
'Cause you
like
feel
that.
like
That
you've
might
lived it in moments in your own life with other
I think I
things.
might have.
I think
I
that's
think I have
why
mommy and daddy
it's
issues.
it's a
What you
very
gonna do?
interesting story. Um, shit, man. Well, I only have about 5 more minutes, so I'm gonna have
Oh,
to
no.
I wanna say a couple more things
Bedtime.
about this book, and then we'll have to save, Mickey 17 because I have 5 more minutes, and then you and I have to talk about Project Hail Mary.
Yes, sir.
So who knows how long that'll take. So, but I do want to say I like the way that after the big adventure happens, he goes back to school. He's got this bully basically, Ambrose, the rich, dickhead
Yeah.
character, who like you're just led to hate the whole book. You're always worried about what he's doing. He's never really is fully successful, but he shows up and just breaks this our main character Kvothes loot. And he finally like they tease you at the beginning that there's this magic system. You say the names of things and you can use them. You say their original name, you get their power. He learned about the wind through his original guy, Abenthi. He tried to use it as a kid, almost killed him. He's gotten, he's been to university now. He still doesn't, he almost subconsciously blacks out to his like feral state, says the name of the wind, and fucking knocks this motherfucker out with the magic system. Finally, the whole book you've been waiting for him to use, and he uses on the bully that's been terrorizing him the whole series. Boom, lays him out. It's great. And then he gets in trouble. He's like in trouble for it. They do this thing where they go to court, and he basically is gonna get expelled. And you're like, oh no, what's gonna happen? And then finally, like, yeah, you're gonna get expelled, but also we want to make your rank better, actually. So, and then everybody votes for him to become better because he used this magic system that nobody ever uses, and it's a great scene. And it ends. It doesn't have these big action scenes. It just has these big moments, and I
Right.
really like that. I like the way it ended, and then it goes back to the present. And just when you think the book's over, fucking Bast goes into the chronicler's room and is like, "Motherfucker, I'm the reason you came here. You got my SOS. I need you to make him remember his life being action packed so we can get out of this shithole." And you're like, "What
Yeah.
is going on?" And I don't know. It was solid for a book that like when it was the last 100 pages and we were still dealing with the lizard. I was like, "How's this gonna
This ended
wrap
well.
up?" And it does.
Yeah.
It leaves you wanting more, and I guess if that's how the second one ends, and then you don't put out a book for 14 years, you're gonna piss some
That
people off.
is a problem, but as a book on its own, if a first book of a series, it
Yeah,
is good.
yeah.